supplied with the essentials to sustain the fight and take it over from us must be accelerated. And the weapons and equipment they need but do not have now, such as armored vehicles and helicopters, must be provided to them as soon as possible. Eighth, we've got to focus more resources, hopefully working with our international allies on the creation of jobs and the provision of basic services in the greater Baghdad area. Success in Iraq can best be built from the center, from the capital out. In fact, right now, a lot of the periphery is relatively secure and stable. It's in the center in Baghdad and the Sunni Triangle that most of the violence is occurring. Ninth, more generally, we've got to begin to increase the size of the U.S. Army and Marine Corps. It's too small now. We've got to do that to make sure we are building the numbers and types of units we need to fight and win the kinds of conflicts that we're likely to fight, unconventional conflicts, during this century. Now, this is not going to fix the shortages that we have now in Iraq or reduce the strain on our forces. It will begin to give us, over time, the greater capabilities we will need. And I hope it will send a signal to our active duty forces and to the Guard and Reserve who have served with such honor and distinction and carried so large a percentage of the load that we understand what they're going through, and that we're going to do something now about having reinforcements ready for them as soon as possible. 10th, to overcome our political divisions here at home and try to build a consensus around new approaches for progress in Iraq, we should form a bipartisan Iraq working group in the next session of Congress. This group, in my opinion, would include the top Republican and Democrats on the House and Senate security-related committees. I'm thinking of armed services, foreign relations, intelligence, homeland security, and appropriations. We should work together to achieve the goals that most of us have and meet regularly with the President and his team on Iraq to give this working group official standing, and I hope real clout. I plan on introducing a resolution authorizing its creation when the new Congress reconvenes in January of 2007. So let me summarize. The clear choice before Connecticut's voters in this campaign is Ned Lamont's plan for giving up on Iraq and my plan for getting the job done there. The Lamont plan for immediate withdrawal and an arbitrary deadline is doomed to fail and weaken our security. I feel confident that the Lieberman plan for getting the job done is designed to succeed and bring our troops home with honor. That is my answer to one of the questions I asked at the beginning that I wanted to discuss with the doubters and opponents this morning, which is why I believe we must succeed in Iraq. But why do I continue to believe, as some don't, that success is possible? I'll tell you why. Because I know that the majority of Iraqis want a better life than Al-Qaeda and the sectional and religious violence offers them. And here's the second reason. I have total confidence in the ability of the American military to get the job done and win the war in Iraq.
Hear, hear.
I'll tell you one great reason why I feel this with such confidence, both parts of this, is that our troops, when I talk to them there or here, I'm talking about the frontline soldiers, not the official spokespeople in Iraq or in the Pentagon. Our troops, who know the war in Iraq better than anyone else, believe in their hearts and heads and souls that victory is possible. And even more than that, they believe in their hearts and heads and souls that victory is critical to future American security. I've traveled to Iraq a number of times, beginning in 1991 after the Gulf War. Then I've visited our troops at bases here at home and around the world. I've spent time, too, with heroic men and women recuperating at Walter Reed and other military hospitals from terrible injuries. I have grieved with those who have lost a loved one in this conflict. In all of these experiences, these American heroes have encouraged me to see our mission through because they believe it is in our national interest. They believe that the Iraqis want us and need us to finish this job. And also because they believe that it is the best way to honor the proud service and sacrifice of the men and women of the United States military. And I believe that they are right. Just last week, I met a man in Enfield whose son is serving in Iraq. And he came up to me, told me that, and he said, looking me right in the eye, "Senator, I trust you with my son's life." Well, I took those words personally and seriously. They place a very heavy responsibility on me, which I accept. Someone who supported the overthrow of Saddam Hussein, who believes that we must not withdraw from Iraq without finishing our mission, I feel a special burden of responsibility to do all I can to hasten the day when the Iraqis can take over and all of our troops can come home. But my friends, you and I both know that whatever burden of responsibility I have, it pales in comparison to that borne by those who put their lives on the line each and every day in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in other battlefields, open and closed, of the war against our terrorist enemies. And it pales in comparison to the burden carried each and every day by their loved ones here at home, who wait for the next call or email to be sure that their sons and daughters, spouses or parents have survived another day with God's help. Yet I also know from what I hear from so many of those troops and their families, I hear of their pride in serving our nation, of their commitment to the liberation of Iraq and a better future for the Iraqi people whom they have come to know in their service. And I am inspired by their commitment to the defeat of the terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. We owe it to these American heroes, this greatest generation, not to give up and walk off the battlefield before the job is done. No matter the mistakes that have been made, and war is never easy and never perfect, and no matter the differences that may remain among us, partisanship and politics have their place. But now we must find a way to come together to protect our country and our values. When our troops defend our country, as they do around the world today, they do not do it to say the obvious as Democrats or Republicans or independents. They do it as Americans. When our enemies attack us, they don't attack us as Democrats or Republicans or independents. They attack us as Americans. So as Americans, let us resolve today, here at home, to work together to unite our country, to move forward for success in Iraq, and to be worthy of the service of the men and women in uniform who fight for our freedom and security every day. I accept that mission, and with your help and the help of the voters of Connecticut, I will have the honor of pursuing it in the months and years ahead. Thank you. God bless you.